Well, a completely sort of sideways look at the whole situation that's going on with this virus, and we've got a screenshot going on behind us here. Mark Burrows, I think you describe yourself as a bit of a computer nerd, and I don't mean that in a bad sense, but you that's something you totally interact with, people who have computers and use them around the world, and you've got some input into this whole thing, which I think is fascinating. So over to you.
Yeah, so the wife calls me geek chic, but we're the kind of geeky guys behind the background that you've got the fire service, the ambulance service. Well, the IT guys around the Isle of Man are the guys that are keeping all this together. Everybody going home. Obviously, there's strains across networks, etc. But one thing that has been overlooked, and we're kind of sort of coming to a call of arms really, is the digital aspect. What can we do digitally to try and combat COVID-19?
Everyone watching this must think, what have you got to do with this? So over to you.
So essentially, the geeks aren't the first people to enter the battleground. There's government politicians around the world calling it the attack of the invisible evil, etc., etc. And so where we come into it is we have lots and lots of computer resource available from when people leave the offices or just sat spare lying around to maybe sell to potential clients or whatever else. But essentially what we're doing is we're turning that compute power over to the scientists, and they're resourcing and pooling that resource to actually come up with a digital way of fighting against this virus. So we're not doctors by any stretch of the imagination, but they need compute power from various places around the world. And so Stanford University, for example, they are the guys that came up with this folding at home, and usually they are fighting against Alzheimer's and cancer, scenarios, things like that. But they've turned their efforts to coronavirus, and they're sort of asking usually nerds at home to provide compute power from people's gaming machines, and there's usually, say, about 10,000 people around the world that are doing that. However, it's really opened the floodgates for anyone with technical resources to put compute power towards that.
Mm-hmm. You've got some high-end stuff, I'm guessing, here.
Yeah, so ourselves, Manx Telecom, other providers on around the island have lots and lots of compute resource. We host servers for clients that have lots of computer power. We have quite a lot available. We have client servers as well that are available once everybody's gone home at 5 o'clock. So we've entered that arena as the geeks, if you like, to basically try and fight this thing from a digital aspect as well. So we've got the doctors and the scientists out there from their angle. Everybody in government's trying to do their bit as well. But as the geeks, we're trying to step up and say, we'll take all this compute power, pool it, and try and come up with some kind of scenario to fix this.
I think is similar would be like if you were Bitcoin mining or something, right? They need computer power, but it's fascinating that this is a side that probably most people haven't even thought about, but you are doing your bit.
Yeah, so if you take that model of people genuinely have Bitcoin miners at home, it usually costs them a fortune because these things run at several thousand kilowatts an hour. However, servers are on all the time, every day, 24/7. It's no extra cost to us. If it is, it's a small spike in electricity cost. Yeah. But yeah, it's a bit like the Bitcoin miner thing. So we solve mathematical equations as a group, and we send that data either back to Stanford University and places like that, or the compute power gets pooled by lots of companies like us, and it all gets sent back.
I mean, I did an interview with Gary Lamb at MT a day, and obviously there's a bit of concern now about how much internet people are going to be using, working at home. Lots of Netflix going on, that sort of thing. So it won't disrupt that, people, and the bandwidth that is being used for other things.
No, not at all. I mean, if you go back to the old days of telecom when it was just edge networks, we use little bandwidth. It's small. It's almost like a small text file that we're sending sort of every hour with answers of compute power in there. So we're not taking away everybody's home.
Right. So you're doing the maths here, then sending it back.
Yeah, basically we do the maths at this end on our hardware, and then when they solve that equation, whatever that equation is, I'm not a scientist at all, we send that information back, and they're already starting. So how it works is they look at proteins and how the 3 proteins that are involved with coronavirus, how they bind to objects.
And that's that graphic we're looking at.
Yeah, exactly. So they're already modelling how this thing binds to surfaces and other humans, etc. So they're already starting to take that information and really get an idea of how this thing is working.
Wish you well, and this can go on for a while, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it's potentially months, isn't it? But as I say, it's like a digital call to arms. You know, we're kind of asking everybody in the tech world in the Isle of Man, grab your digital bayonets. You can go to the Folding at Home website or ours, and just download the application. Anybody can do it, whether it's on a device at home or the likes of Manx Telecom. Just get involved, basically.